going to be part of our meeting. Welcome everybody to our meeting today. Sorry about the short notice for some people, but it's measures that we had to take. I'm Asad Al-Najjar, I'm the chair, and David Balin is the co-chair, and Gabriel Canelian is the other co-chair. The three of us are the Public Safety and Transit Committee. And in case we have other members of the Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council on the call, just to remind them that they are as listeners and they cannot participate in the meeting so that we do not violate the Brown Act. With that said, Gabriel, can you do the roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Assad?
Yes, present.
David Balin?
Present.
Gabriel here, and we have a quorum.
Thank you.
Right.
And
let's go to item number 4, approval of December 5, 2019 minutes. And I'll make a motion.
The motion.
Perfect. All in favor?
yes.
And motion passes.
Wait, sorry, hi. So I have to write down everybody's name, so just, I don't know people, so it might be good if you say your name so I know.
Maria, I'm David Balin. I'm the co-chair.
Okay, so do you want me to write down the people as they say they're here for the roll call, or you don't want that?
It's the three of us. It's on page 1 in your Word document. You can't miss us. The page 1, you will have the 3 names: Assad, David Balin, and Gabriel. Right under the committee name above the 6 p.m. in page 1.
Oh, I see. At the top? Okay, that's how you do it? Okay, it's very different than the other ones. Okay.
Oh, okay. So this way,
That's
the 3 musketeers.
Perfect. Okay.
Perfect. And then item number 5, Assad.
Right. So we have the minutes.
We did the minutes.
Right. So hold on.
Assad.
We did the minutes. And next is
Public comment.
all right. So, David, you want to take the lead and introduce our guests, please?
Well, what I'd like to do on that is presentation from representatives or elected officials at city departments and first responders on non-agenda items. If you guys don't mind, I would like to go ahead and ask Captain David Cohen to start, just in case they have a call, if you guys don't mind. Anybody?
No problem.
No objection.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm actually really glad that you guys asked me to talk about traffic safety. You know, of course, it's near and dear to our hearts as firefighters and paramedics. I was looking at some stats real quick. On average, year to year, other than 2001, we lose plus or minus 100 firefighters every year. Out of those 100 firefighters, 12 are in vehicle crashes. 3 are struck by, or I'm sorry, in 2018, 12 were in vehicle crashes, 3 were struck by vehicles. And we have a number of firefighters who, when working out in the street, are struck by a passing vehicle. Just last month, Engine 100, that's in Lake Balboa area, pulled up on scene of a RV fire. They're stretching out their hose line to start to put the RV fire out, and a distracted driver drove into the scene and hit the engineer as he's pulling out the hose line. He was not life-threatening injured, but he did suffer injuries from being struck by the vehicle. So just wanted to reinforce just the importance of when you see firefighters, when you see paramedics, when you see police officers, highway patrol, you see highway workers working on the side of the road, slow down. And I'm sure LAPD knows the law. You know, you're supposed to move a lane over if possible, to give that space to the first responders that are working on the side of the road. You know, we try and be careful when we pull up on scene on a medical call or traffic or fire, you know, look at oncoming cars, but you know, we'll be there working on the scene and somebody's on their phone or just excited by the flashing lights, and, drifts into the scene where firefighters and paramedics and police officers are working and ends up hitting somebody. And it's not good. So just a reminder, when you see us working on the side of the road, to be heads up. The other thing too, of course, it's an ongoing issue when we're responding. People forget what they're supposed to do when they're driving. Pull to the right and stop when it's safe. We get people that all of a sudden they see us behind them and boom, they hit the brakes, just right where they're at. Or, they'll pass us while we're responding, because sometimes the fire truck, as we're building, isn't as fast as their vehicle, and they'll pass us while we're responding on a call. So just, pull to the right and stop when you see the sirens and lights. And just, thank you to the neighborhood council for your guys' support of Fire Station 28. And actually, I forgot I was going to introduce myself at the beginning. I took Captain Denise Jones's spot. She retired a couple months ago. So I'm here at Fire Station 28 on the C shift. So if any of you guys ever need anything, and once the COVID's over and, we're open up to visitors, we're always super happy to have people come by. Unfortunately, right now we're restricted from having visitors, but, love our neighborhood council and appreciate your guys' support.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good to have you, David. It's a pleasure to have you.
I have a
Go
quick
ahead.
question for the captain before he takes off.
Sure.
Can you share with the community some of the situations that you've been called to right here up in Porter Ranch, either on Cessna or Rinaldi, in the time you've been up here?
Well, a lot of just, we've had some small brush fires, usually by the freeway. And, you guys are probably aware of some of the homeless encampments down by the freeway. We get our share of small brush fires down there that sometimes can grow to large ones. This time of year, we've been getting a lot of snakes. A lot of folks calling us for snakes in their backyard. Of course, just a lot of medical calls.
How about anything regarding speeding?
We've had a couple of accidents that we've responded to. Not too many on my shifts. On my shift particularly, I've just been here a couple months, but I know that we do, get the traffic accidents, on those main streets, and I do see some pretty high speeds on people. I mean, it's basically, Corbin, Porter Ranch. It's a residential street, but people get going pretty. Mason, you get people driving pretty fast.
Thank you for your input.
It is definitely concerning. Yeah.
Excellent. And then let's see, any other officials we have online for non-agenda items? CD12, Councilman John Lee's office. No. And
I thought I saw Mr. Schmerlson down below. Did you let him in?
I let him in.
Okay, does he have anything?
I guess not. Okay. And the rest, I guess, we'll cover through the agenda items themselves. All right. Okay. Now I can move to the next item 6. Any public comments on non-agenda items? And if you have any items you would like to discuss, please click on the where it says raise hand, so that at least I know who has questions. This is the time.
You have 2 hands
Okay.
raised in this.
Right. Michelle, please go ahead.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, thank you. My name is Michelle, and I've been a volunteer at the West LA Animal Shelter for 13 years. General Manager for LA Animal Services recently stated that the Board of Animal Commission at a Board of Animal Commissioners meeting that she was looking into the possibility of reopening the West Valley Animal Shelter as a hybrid shelter. She hasn't explained exactly what that means, but I wanted to reiterate how important it was that the shelter remain a municipal shelter exactly as it was operating prior to its closure in April. Our city shelters are open admission shelters, which means they are supposed to take animals, any animal which comes to the door. Our shelters are a safety net for lost, homeless, sick, neglected, and abused animals. This is why we need all the cage space we have, and we cannot afford to give any of it to rescues. West Valley has always been around at about 90% capacity for dogs, and when it wasn't, we took dogs from other overcrowded city shelters. Late last summer, the shelter was over 100% capacity for both dogs and cats for a good 6 to 8 weeks. We had over 50 small dogs being kept in small folding cages in hallways throughout the facility in a desperate attempt to keep animals from having to be euthanized for space. This situation took a terrible psychological toll on both staff and volunteers. Prior to the expanded section of West Valley opening around November of 2007, due to overcrowding, about 3 large dogs had to be housed together in a single kennel. And this sometimes led to dog fights in which dogs were injured and sometimes killed. Many dogs who were keep alone because they didn't get along with other dogs had to be euthanized because of the need to house multiple dogs in a single kennel. If all the animals in the valley have to go to East Valley, there's a legal hold period of 4 business days for a stray, Mondays and holidays are excluded, before an animal can be adopted or rescued. There's a 10-day legal hold for possible owners. There's a 10-day hold for quarantine situations, a 30-day hold for personal property and evidence animals. This means that East Valley would fill up very quickly. I'm requesting the council submit a community impact statement asking it to be reopened as a municipal shelter prior to its closing in April of this year. The council file number is 20-1114. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, Gail.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hi,
go
my
ahead.
name is Gail Rath, and I'm a resident of the San Fernando Valley, and I oppose any closing of the West Valley Animal Shelter. There is only one open shelter right now for the whole entire San Fernando Valley, and that I believe is more than 41% of the city of Los Angeles. There's only one shelter for the whole entire San Fernando Valley. And in the East Valley, which I was volunteer there for almost 10 years, there's only 30 cat cages, and there's 100 cat cages at West Valley. Our tax dollars need and pay for the West Valley shelter, which happens to be the only shelter that has air conditioning. I beg you, as a tax dollar, please do not let them close the shelter on us. There's too many animals on the street right now, and as street rescuers and people who are doing TNR, we just don't have enough help to keep it closed. And right now we're so oversaturated. We need that shelter reopened now. Thank you.
Thank you. Sherry, you're next.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Sherry Darrow-Hunnian, and I lived 15 years in Porter Ranch. I do notice the most traffic accidents occur at Wilbur and Rinaldi, or Reseda and Rinaldi, because I go down Rinaldi a lot every day to work.
Sherry, that's an agenda item. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is for the non-agenda. It's okay.
The subtopic I wanted to ask about, and it might fall under land use, but about 6 months ago, a company proposed opening another building on the southeast corner of Wilbur and Rinaldi, and that would cause a lot of traffic. Oh, is that going to be handled in the land use?
It's still in the agenda item. Wilbur Rinaldi is an agenda item.
I didn't read the agenda. I apologize.
It's okay.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you, Sherry. Phone number ending with 988. I'll unmute you now.
Hi, are you able to hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please, and identify yourself, please. Thank you.
My name is Paula Shan. I am a resident of Porter Ranch, and I was a volunteer at the West Valley Shelter for 11 years. I just want to say that our community needs West Valley Shelter. It is one of the 3rd largest shelter in LA Animal Services. We have 6 city shelters that are operating. It has the 3rd highest intake in 2019. East Valley is not able to handle the entire valley. it is already overcrowded because it has to cover the northeast Mission Hills area. So if they were to take away West Valley, it'll take away services from our side of the valley as well, and that we'll have no place to turn in stray, sick, injured animals, and we also will not have a shelter to bring our pets to in case of emergency or evacuation. And I just want to add that there's already, whatever the general manager is offering is not anything new. West Valley already has a low-cost spay and neuter and vaccine clinic. It already has a rescue that offers services to help people to keep their pets home free of charge. So I ask that, if you would please oppose her hybrid plan or her proposal, however it's stated, because we need the shelter. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Phone number ending with 411. I am unmuting you. Go ahead, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hi, my name is Carolyn. I'm also a resident of the area. I was a long-term dog walker volunteer at West Valley Animal Shelter. So that is a shelter that our community desperately needs. There is no way the Valley can function with a single shelter, and the general manager at the moment is trying to change her existing proposal to a hybrid shelter proposal, which still will fail to meet the taxpayers' needs. The hybrid proposal will just put basically lipstick on a pig and still give our much needed kennel space away to private organizations. That shelter was already at full capacity as a municipal shelter. So to give away space that is desperately needed is ludicrous. And also, I would like to point out that the shelter was built with bond Prop F money. The taxpayers, we're still paying on that shelter. We're not even done paying on it, and it's already on the chopping block to be given away. So I ask you to write a letter to the mayor, letting him know that this community opposes any proposal by the general manager, Brenda Barnett, to turn this into a hybrid or a private entity. Hybrid does not work either. Hybrid is just redressing the same problem under a new name. Going back, he seems to just go back to her to get more information, and she feeds him slanted information. He felt like that the new proposal will expand services, and as the previous caller said, it just takes away services that we needed. So I ask you to please reach out to the council members and the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, typically we don't comment on the non-agenda items, but for this subject, I've been working very close with our neighborhood council president, Isam Najm, and the chair of outreach, Ms. Lori. And we are in discussions trying to find a solution with the mayor's office. And as far as I could report to you, our president is drafting a letter going directly to the mayor's office and with some budget and some suggestions to keep it open. So we're already on it. Thank you.
May I say one more thing?
Okay, 1 minute.
Okay, it'll be less than a minute. The general manager is saying that budget cuts are the reason that she needs to give the shelter away or reopen it as a hybrid shelter. It is important to look at her previous year budget, and the staff salaries have not changed for the staff that helps the animals. The only changes that have happened to staff salaries in the millions are upper management. The department has grown to be extremely top heavy, director upon director. So if they're looking to save money and cut costs, it isn't by giving away a shelter. It's by going back to the staff model that they had just a few years ago. With the same amount of staff, they can open the shelter. They just need to get rid of their extremely top heavy management.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
see Glenn. Glenn, I am unmuting you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Assad, and members and everyone in attendance. My name is Glenn Bailey. I am president of the Northridge East Neighborhood Council, and the decision regarding this and all issues obviously is yours. But I did want to share with you that so far, to my knowledge, 4 neighborhood councils have voted to support the continued operation of the West Valley Animal Shelter as a municipal shelter and not turn it over to a private rescue group or a hybrid, just to continue the operation as it's been for more than 40 years as a municipal shelter. And because it is just down the street from Porter Ranch and it serves the entire West Valley, west of the 405, it's an important issue. So the 4 neighborhood councils that have voted that I'm aware of, and there could be more, are Northridge East Neighborhood Council, Tarzana Neighborhood Council, Encino Neighborhood Council, and just last night, the Chatsworth Neighborhood Council. And it was announced last night by Council District 12 that a motion was introduced into City Council yesterday, and you've already heard that, council file number 20-1114. So you do have an opportunity that only neighborhood councils have to take a position regarding that motion and file a community impact statement. Personally, I don't believe that the motion is strong enough, but it's a great first step to start the opportunity for neighborhood councils to file community impact statements and also for the community to submit comments to the council because there is now a council file. So I hope you'll consider that in addition to anything like a letter to the mayor that you're considering. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Glenn. And then my last comment will be with phone number ending 551. I unmuted yours. Go ahead.
Yes, hello. Good evening. This is Kathy Serksness calling, and I've called in before. I'm a Porter Ranch resident, and I volunteer at the shelter, West Valley Shelter, that is for about 15 years combined. Anyway, I just want to make sure you folks know, don't fall for Brenda's plan. Right now, she's coming up with a new, quote, hybrid plan, which is basically going to be pretty much the same thing as before, which is tantamount to giving away the West Valley Shelter to rescues. There's no savings involved with this, and the taxpayer will continue to foot the bill, and Brenda's headcount at the same time has virtually remained untouched for fiscal year 2021. So basically, I think there's some opportunists out there taking advantage of the City of LA's budget crisis. And this is basically boiled down to a land grab by outside organizations to seize our assets that belong to the community, and they're working with Brenda. We need this shelter, as was stated earlier. It's been here at this location for over 40 years. When we had fires last year, I had to evacuate my community. I was driving around with all my animals in the SUV, and I was at a point where I was ready to drop them off at the West Valley Shelter. This is going to happen again. Luckily, I was able to come back into my community, and I didn't have to do that. So Brenda will keep complaining or crying, budget cuts, budget cuts, budget cuts. But in analysis of her budget and her head count, there's enough money in there, a little bit of trimming here and there, and the trimming can start with all the directors and managers that were some of your top level folks that were hired in the last, 3 years. You start with those people. You never start to cut the folks who are on the front lines working at the shelters. So if you look at the people who have, is my time up?
Yeah, thank you, Kathy. And by the way, Lori is working on a CIS using the materials you emailed to the board. So that is being in the works.
Excellent.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
And I'm hoping you guys are going to be able to get my report too. That's critical. That's very critical. Okay, thank you. I appreciate your time this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. So next we have the item number 7, which is the discussion for the safety issues due to the increased street racing, the speeding, the donuts, the illegal mufflers, the pedestrian safety, And what we have noticed for the past 3-4 years, there is a lot of increased activity, especially on Reseda, Tampa, Cessna, Porter Ranch Drive, Mason, and we are very concerned. And before even we start into it, I have to acknowledge and thank LAPD Special Task Force for a lot of their work. I mean, we've seen a lot of cars being confiscated, a lot of these speeders being prosecuted, and we're looking to work together with the task force and with our SLOs to find even better solutions for the increased problems. With that, I open the floor to our officers, and let's see. Danny, you want to start first, or?
We can, but
go ahead. You have the floor, and you organize it the way you would like to present it on.
Well, since we're talking about donuts, I think Officer Benavidez would be better.
No pun intended. Oh,
we have moved on to bagels.
he wants to talk traffic. Okay, please.
All right, the floor is yours, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay, this is Officer Benavidez. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm Officer Benavidez. I am the traffic safety officer filling in for Officer Sherino for the Devonshire Division. I have 25 years on with the department. I've worked Devonshire for 5 years, and I also was recently part of that street racing task force you were talking about. So I could answer questions regarding that also.
Okay, so before we ask, can you tell us more of where you have been, where you're heading? If you could share some of your activity without telling it to the street racers what you're doing, you know, but in a way, if you could share some information on your program and what's the next level happening. Thank you.
So our task force is comprised of 6 officers, 2 motor officers, 4 officers in vehicles, and a sergeant. We usually run 2 task force nights during the week, and that's usually the days that the vehicles, these racing groups and truck groups are more active. We get officers loaned from divisions to assist with our task force on those nights, and we have all been trained by the Bureau of Automotive Repair through DMV to inspect the vehicles that we see have loud exhaust, and for us, stopping them for their loud exhaust allows us to have them open their hood and check for modified emissions. If we find modified emissions in the engine compartment, we cite them for that. We send an email to automotive repair, and they tag that vehicle's registration. So the next time they pay their registration, they cannot register it until the vehicle is inspected by the state referee.
I see. And speaking of illegal mufflers and all that, one of the gentlemen on Nextdoor was saying that some of these cars are using out-of-state plates, that those states allow these loud mufflers or modified mufflers. So how can you handle those?
Every state in our nation has a modified exhaust law. The only thing that prohibits us is from enforcing them because they are not California vehicles. But what we are doing is that if the person has an out-of-state plate, but they have a California driver's license, we cite them for not having California registration, and that will send them to the referee.
Good. Excellent.
Yeah, and again, Officer Parker and I, we touch base Officer Benavides. He comes into our office regularly. We send him emails. If anything comes in to us regarding anything traffic related, we coordinate. We try to go ahead and, like I say, we touch base with one another, and we let each other know what's the latest going on. Matter of fact, that's why we were just the other day ensuring that we were going to go ahead and be on this meeting and about the other issues within the area.
Danny, let me ask you guys a question. Is there anything that the community can do to be proactive? I mean, you know, by the time we hear it, see it, and notify somebody, everybody's gone. I mean, is there anything that we have set up that if the community were to see something going on, they can take a picture of it, take the license plate?
License. That's a great question. You know, if they're able to get a license plate, please do so. Things that we can do follow-up investigations on. You're so right. A lot of times they're there and they're gone. You know, by the time it's filtered through communications, put out through the air, they're very mobile. They listen to our frequencies. They try to monitor where units are coming from, and they even stiff in calls when they feel that they want to go ahead and be in an area, or they feel that we're coming in. But like I say, BTD, they've been doing great. Like I say, working other task force. Yeah, I know that like last month they had something with other agencies combined, and it was pretty cool.
So one of the thoughts I was just thinking about is, you know, if the community, you know, if we see it, they want to report it, do we have the ability to send them a little letter and say, hey, you've been witness doing this crime, before you get caught, think twice. Something, you know, something to send out to, because not saying that these, most of the time their license plates could be stolen anyway.
Yeah, if we're able to get a license plate, we can do a follow-up and, like I say, you know, visit with them, let them know, and what have you. We have a speed trailer that we put out. We haven't been able to put it out for a little bit because we had a charging issue, but the garage mechanics, they just fixed it. And matter of fact, today I came in the office and they told John and I, Officer Parker and I, that it's fixed now. So what is there a location where you want it posted next?
Maybe we can loan you ours over here at the Renaissance. We could just stick it out there on Cessna. Gabriel?
Yeah, right. Yeah, Cessna's been a big issue for us. That's for sure.
I think Cessna is the biggest, most complaints we get right now, all the way from Mason, all the way past East Reseda, you know, almost where the dead end is. And we're getting a lot of, on average, it depends. In the weekend, on average, 1 race per hour, and it slows down by 2 a.m., but it picks up by 6 a.m. But and we're not sure what to do about it, because especially there is a lot of people right now crossing the street to go jogging or something early hours in the morning. And then, you know, pedestrian is becoming a hazard there.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're not sure what to do about the street racing. Maybe if you show up for a day or two, some tickets, it might slow them down. I don't know. And we're receiving so many calls, so many emails, and I'm sure you've seen on Nextdoor the flow. There was suggestion to put humps, but the street doesn't qualify for humps because it's over the 30 mile per hour. And then I was discussing with LA DOT earlier this morning on ordinance, but then the ordinance is state regulated. And they were telling me if we don't do it right, then we cannot enforce the speed, because any smart lawyer will throw the ticket out because it's not per state, it's per city. So you see what I'm getting at? There is a lot of dilemma, and we're reaching out for your experience.
And also on that, we can't really do the rumble stakes because it slows the fire department down. So I've spoken with both stations, and they don't want it either. It just, they slow down just like any other car would slow down.
Yes.
One of the biggest problems with Cessna is that it already has a high speed limit. I've had the complaints that you give to the councilman's office, Matt Hernandez sends to me, and I open complaints and I work them, and I try and send motor officers in those areas, just because it's easier for us to use a tree or a vehicle as cover. That way we can see them before they see us. But the biggest problem we have there is the high speed limit, but also if you can put out in your neighborhood app that most of the people that we have been getting racing and speeding in that area are all your neighbors. They all live in the area.
Correct.
Yes. A lot of the vehicles that we are stopping for modified vehicles all live in that area. So a lot of it is coming from your own neighbors. So if you can put information out through your social medias and have them be considerate about their neighbors.
Right. I don't see anybody from CD12. I don't see Matt or Colin or even. Otherwise, we would get their opinion on how we could utilize some of their resources to bring in technology or bring in whatever solutions we can bring into LAPD to help you out in reducing this speeding.
Yeah, you're
I
absolutely
don't see
right.
anybody from CD12.
This is Officer Parker, so I cover everything east of Tampa, up near Desnon. So just to let you know, you're absolutely correct. I myself, I recall even stopping traffic stop with somebody that blew an intersection just, I guess it would be west of Reseda. And I pulled them over. They actually went right through the stop sign, didn't even stop. I pulled them over and they said, wait a minute, why are you stopping me? You're supposed to come up here and stop the speeders. And there was somebody that actually lived in the community, and she got very upset that I actually stopped and gave her a traffic citation. And one of the things I mentioned to her is I said, did you happen to see the person with their dog at the crosswalk that was getting ready to cross in the intersection? And she said she didn't. So number one, you're absolutely correct. There are people in the community that live up there that are just violating the law, and they have the expensive cars, whether it be Lamborghinis or these high-end Mercedes, and they're abusing the speed on Cessna. The other thing is to let you know, Officer Del Valle and myself actually had met with John Lee's office early this year before all the COVID pandemic took off in March. And one of the things that we discussed with them was some of the ideas that sort of piggybacked off of last year, the previous year, just to see, looking at rumble sticks to even maybe looking at some of the radar signs that are powered by solar that may be stretched along, say, Cessnon or some of the major streets, whether it be Mason or Tampa, Reseda, what have you. So those were some ideas that were brought up and things that we had seen in other cities that are being utilized to try to, people can track their speed, see how fast they're going, opposed to us having to put up a trailer that may be up there temporary, and then we have to take it back to have it charged. But I do know that there has been traffic enforcement. Officer Benavides probably can attest to that. But one things that we have realized is that in some of these task force that Danny and myself have been involved in, they have what's called like scouts. So if they're doing any kind of street racing, or if there's gatherings or the street takeovers, that's something that's up and coming over the last year or two, a little bit longer. They have scouts that actually go out to various locations to see, one, are there any police activity in the area? They can probably stiffen a call to say, hey, and then we got a robbery down in another location just to try to divert us. But we have seen firsthand where we've been actually over there by Plummer and Canoga, or Canoga and the area, Plummer and Canoga, where they had a lot of the street racing, some of that stuff that was televised on TV, that show called Street Outlaw. And we actually saw some of the scouts come in and actually patrol where we were hiding in some of the buildings just to wait for the activity to occur. And so what they do is they take that information and they go back to the people that says, hey, this is not a good location because there's either police cars or there's police activity in the area. And they'll tend to find somewhere else to go.
Yeah, we were also like blacked out in undercover vehicles over at the In-N-Out in Porter Ranch.
Right.
I mean, and they're you can see them, and they're on their phones telling them, hey, no, don't come over here. We're seeing layoff vehicles that are further, you know, they're directing them.
Yeah.
So
it is well coordinated through social media, and that is one thing that, you know, if we are in an area and say we do some traffic enforcement, but we do tend to find, as we see around schools, you know, you have an officer come in and they do the traffic enforcement, they're doing the citations, and it may mitigate that problem for that day. But as soon as the officer is gone, it's like it just picks up, you know, the very next day. People are back into their habits of either double parking on the cell phone, going through stop signs. And it's an ongoing issue that I think we got to look at something a little bit beyond what we're currently doing.
But it is good, though. I know it does help out when they do see a radar sign posting their speed, because then it, you know, and that it changes from yellow to red, indicating, hey, we're going too fast.
Right.
And a lot of times folks go, hey, I didn't realize I was going that fast. I would suggest that I don't like those speed signs to go see where they're, you know, they're going to have individuals go, oh, I wonder how fast I can go ahead and clock myself.
Right.
You know, I don't.
I got a quick question to ask you.
You know, I'm interested to see, like you were mentioning, technology.
Yes.
Maybe see if they can pass some type of legislation, or you know, I mean, before there was, people were getting citations for red light violations.
Right.
What about speed? What about speed? Maybe they can pass something where they go ahead and go, oh, if you're in a posted, you know, 35 and they're doing, you know, 60 or whatever, and then they're being able to come back and get them. I don't know. You know,
so speed by the camera, like the ones within the homeowner association they use. Okay.
Yeah.
And I assume your trailer doesn't have it, right?
No.
I got a quick question for you. There's plans out there for adopt a median. If we were able to get medians, that, you know, just regular concrete medians that run down, does that deter people racing, or does that just keep it straight?
For over there, not so much, to be honest with you.
It's a very wide street.
It's a very wide street, yeah. But that's not a, you know.
You know, I've tried to put one near Porter Ranch Community School. It'd be great to put one down at the far end towards Castle Bay. But I don't know. I don't know if, you know, the center medians take away the speeding even off of Rinaldi, because we already have them there. They run down the church and everywhere else.
Yeah, not so much for the speed, but they do for the no left, you know, the no turn, you know,
illegal
areas.
U-turns.
Illegal U-turns and such. Yeah, they help out.
Yeah. They would help out for the illegal U-turns, not as much for the speed. Usually when they race, they're side by side because they want to see each other.
Right.
And
they want to look at the fear in the eyes. I see it.
Correct. And also when it comes to the speed trailer and that whole Porter Ranch area, there is no place for me to put that speed trailer because of the bicycle lanes. We cannot block a bicycle lane with that speed trailer because it is interfering with the bicyclists. So up there, unfortunately, that whole area, the only way we can do any speed enforcement or anything like that would be with an actual officer in the area. Also, the mall area there where the In-N-Out is and Walmart, these race groups tend to congregate there on Thursday evenings. And we've noticed by stopping a few of them that none of them are from the San Fernando Valley. They're all from San Gabriel or other valleys. So they drive quite a distance to gather at that spot. Also, us at VTD, our street racing task force, we are the only ones in the city that are also arresting the spectators.
Yeah.
So we arrest the spectators for spectating. We have dedicated city attorneys at our San Fernando courthouse and our Van Nuys courthouse that only deal with the street racing arrests and the spectators. And also they do not give them a plea deal to plead to something lesser. lesser charge, they have to plead to that specific charge. And for the actual street racer, their license gets suspended once their paperwork goes to the DMV, and their vehicle gets impounded for.
Yes.
What can be done about the donuts though? For example, on Mason and Cessnon, as well as Reseda and Cessnon.
Good question.
Yeah, that's a hard one because, like I said, by the time it goes through communications, you know, it takes a while. We can go ahead and advise our air support to kind of try to, you know, monitor the area, you know, a little more frequent where we're having the issues. But other than that, we kind of rely on people calling in. And if they're still there, we can enforce. If they're not, you know, we'll have to go ahead and call.
Yeah, it's usually about half an hour after the air support flies over, the nightly flyover they do. It's literally about half an hour after you hear them on Mason and Cessnon. Literally every night.
Yeah.
So you think you could do a lot of increased drive-by there and hoping to catch a couple people? And this way maybe the word gets around?
And that's what we do as a task force. Without getting into how we operate, we have vehicles that's all they do is they drive around to areas that we know they frequent.
Yeah, and we'll try.
Due to their social media, it's very interesting. Each division in the Valley has their own what they call a pit, where they go and do these activities.
Yeah.
So Sylmar has one, Northridge has one. Every area of the Valley has one.
Yeah. We'll put it out there though for our patrol and other officers to do when we can. Right now, also, we just want to have you be aware that we have a lot of demonstrations going on, other things that are pulling resources to other parts of the city, other areas. I mean, we were just downtown on Monday night working it, and I say we're going to go ahead and actually have this go on all the way, at least until the elections, and I have a feeling it'll go even past. And I have a feeling it's going to get, we're going to get really inundated with these demonstrations, these protests going on, and we're going to do our best.
Okay, so let me see if we have any questions from the public. I don't see any raised hands. Okay. No questions. David, Gabriel, any more questions?
No other questions at the moment.
All right. Thank you very much. Then I'll move to the next item, which is in a way related to the speeding. It's in the same vicinity. Go ahead, Gabriel.
Yes, this is regarding the park right there on Hallie Benson Park on Cessnon and Porter Ranch Drive. There's been a lot of fishy activity lately, cars hanging out until 2 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 10, 15 cars. You see people handing each other stuff, just hanging out. And it's also a hub for the racers to stop and then go make the donuts and etc. We've also heard that, you know, there's been other illegal activities going on at that park. Number one, I know Parks and Recs is not shutting that park, and I think at 8 o'clock it's supposed to be shut down. What can we do to have that park monitored after 8 o'clock so that activity slows down a little bit, because it could start escalating to further events in the future?
So just to let you know, in regard to the parks, we do have a vice unit that could be deployed. They're all undercover. And if you end up just letting us know as the senior lead officers, if you happen to have our contact information, if you don't, I can provide it tonight. So just let me know, and I can give you our email address for both Officer Del Valle and myself, Officer Parker. But what we would do is in turn let them know. For instance, I'm having people from the community complain about Palisade Park, which is over by Braymore. And same thing, activity with people going over there, maybe drinking, smoking, maybe lewd acts that may be happening in the vehicles. And so what we'll do is we'll let them know, because those are the hours that they generally would be working, that they can do that kind of enforcement in, in undercover capacity.
But we'll definitely let our vice unit know again to go ahead and monitor. Who would you like us to go ahead and contact?
As a,
send it. If you want Gabriel or someone else, if they want to be the lead point.
Gabriel, you want to be the lead on that?
I'll be the lead. That's fine.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll go ahead and keep in contact with that.
Okay.
And, we'll that way we can go ahead and let you know, and in turn, if we're not available, you're able to go ahead and let the others know.
All right. Also, the same problem is existing up Mason all the way to the top by the Renaissance Fire Gates. And what they're doing lately is cutting our chains and hiding between Mason and our fire gate of Renaissance. So nobody, you see, if you look up, you won't see them. But if you go all the way up, drive all the way to the top, look right, they're basically beyond our extra gate we have.
So we're getting that activity there again? Okay.
Yeah, same kind of activity over there as well.
Gabriel, do you know, is there any kind of a motion sensor light up there, or a light that would highlight that gate at night?
We don't have anything up there, because our problem is getting power up there at that location, because right outside our community on Mason, all the way to the top.
Okay, I wonder if something maybe with solar or something like that could be utilized if there's no electricity that's in that particular area.
Right.
Maybe
We'll have
something
to
on
talk to the city guy with solar lighting.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll work with you, Gabriel, on solar lighting.
Definitely.
And David, you wanted to mention also about the social distancing and all?
Yeah, so one of the issues that we're having at all three parks, ET Park, the Wilbur Tampa, as well as Holly Burnson, is the social distancing. People are unfortunately not wearing their masks. As a matter of fact, on the weekends, we're getting basketball tournaments and nobody's wearing their masks. It's I guess that they're playing at their own risk, but at the end of the day, our parks are becoming just a petri of COVID-19 concerns.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's really what's ironic about it is the Rex and Parks will be there cleaning up. They won't say anything to anybody. They just let it go. So it's almost like the city is turning a blind eye on the parks as well. So I'm just kind of curious, do you have any input on that?
Yeah, we do. And just to let you know, there was a campaign that was just put out by the mayor where all of our police divisions are now given masks for both children and adults. And so from a patrol standpoint, the officers will go out. If they are not wearing masks or they don't have them, we have boxes that can be distributed, and also as an education piece for the community. And again, this was just put out as of this week.
We just picked up a bunch of masks for distribution, and that's something that our department is really going to go ahead and pump out into the communities. So we're not, we understand that people are frustrated with all the issues of COVID and everything, but they still need to go ahead and be aware and be careful. You're totally correct.
It's still very serious, unfortunately.
Yes.
Let me add on to, there's over 40, 50 cars sometimes parked on Cessna going to that park, and you're not allowed to park on Cessna. Are they starting to enforce the illegal parking on the streets on Cessna? I know they had stopped for a while.
Yeah, I think from what we understand through the mayor, there's a moratorium that goes until October 1st.
October 1st, okay.
That's where it currently stands after the extension that they had. I believe it was into July or maybe into early August.
Yeah.
But currently there's a moratorium that goes into at least August 1st, unless there is a change that comes to us through the city.
Correct.
That may change that.
For on that issue. But one good thing that CD12, John Lee pushed out was the abandoned vehicles. We heard that coming down the pike that they already approved that we'll be able to go ahead and impound abandoned vehicles. It's still going through our channels, and I have, you know, we hear that it'll go ahead and probably they'll put it out soon. But yeah, we'll be able to impound vehicles that have been parked or abandoned for the 72 hours.
Oh,
So
72 hours, okay.
Yeah, we can start doing that. I know, though, we will not. We were told that that has nothing to do with the RVs because of the COVID. Still, I think they're still trying to go ahead and be, you know, sympathetic or what have you to the other people that are out there regarding that. But we heard word that they are going to allow us possibly to impound abandoned vehicles pretty soon.
Okay, we do have one abandoned right now on Tampa, the burnt car you're probably aware of. There's a burnt car that's abandoned with its hood open, trunk open, doors open. That's been there for the last 3-4 days on Tampa by Port Ranch Estates.
Longer, longer.
Is it?
It's been there for almost 6 weeks, but they've been pick aparting it.
Something like that, we may be able to go in and take off the roadway because it's now a hazard. It's not.
If it's in the road, yeah. If it's anything that poses a hazard, they're allowing. But just before it was all just whatever, you know, abandoned vehicles. It was no, absolutely not. And like I say, this is just coming down the pike.
Gotcha.
Are these vehicles? If we pick them up, are they stored or are they just crushed right away?
No, they're impounded. They're stored, depending on their, you know, what it is. But it's taken to the impound yard.
Got it. Okay.
This is Officer Benavides one more time.
Yes.
If I can give out my information for you, that way, if you guys have any traffic concerns, you could email me directly. My email address is my serial number 32152 at LAPD online. You could put that out to your neighborhoods and on your neighborhood app if you would like. If any of your fellow neighbors have any concerns with traffic or anything that we are not aware of, they could email me and I will get to them as soon as I can. Just be aware that I am the only traffic officer assigned to all of Devonshire Division. So I will get to it as soon as I can, and I will get resources to help me if need be. But feel free to email me with whatever traffic concerns you have, and I will get back to you as soon as possible.
Excellent. 32152. Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, at lapd.online. Perfect.
Correct.
And
Captain Weber, question on that car that's burnt out. You said it's on Tampa. What's the nearest cross street?
It's the entrance at the bridge for Port Ranch Estate. It's between right after the bridge going north on Tampa.
So it's south of Cessnan, north of the bridge for the entrance.
Port Ranch Estate.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Any questions from any stakeholders at this time? And I still don't see anybody from CD12 to elaborate here.
The other to get a hold of is Officer Parker, serial number 36560. 36560 at lapd.online.
And that's for the Empire.
That's for everything.
Oh, everything? Since he's not here, he's going volunteered, right? Okay. I like this strategy, Danny. This is a good strategy.
Sure. And then if you need to get a hold of me, mine's 27677 at lapd.online. But do John first.
Right. No, yours we know by heart. Phone number and the email. We bug you all the time, and we thank you a lot for all what you do for us.
Thank
All
you.
of you. I mean, all of everybody in Devonshire. I mean, I have to acknowledge everybody in Devonshire has been great in Porter Ranch. And we ask a lot of you, and we know you have limited resources, and we're trying as a neighborhood council to come out with whatever we can to get you tools and resources to make you do your job better and more improved, because we know you have limited resources, and we try any way we can. Even with CD12, we're trying sort of a joint project to buy some of these speed signs, something like that, because the neighborhood council is limited in resources too.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
We have
and
little money.
We appreciate that. You know, a number of you, we've worked with you a number of years. Yeah, and we really do appreciate everything you folks do for us, and showing the officers the support is just outstanding, especially the time right now with all the conflict and issues that have been out there. Really, for the officers, the younger officers, to hear that and such, it really does mean a lot to us. And for that, we're very thankful, very blessed. And like I say, we feel very grateful that, you know, we're in a great community, and we're going to try to do our best to keep pushing forward and keep it that way, you know, and improve whatever we can.
So I wanted to finish with this in regards to the traffic issues. It hasn't really been seen a whole lot this year, obviously, because of the pandemic, but with our volunteers, and I don't know how many of you actually know this, but through our community patrol, we actually have volunteers that have been trained to use the radar gun.
Right, exactly.
And they'll go out there, and there's like a team of 4 or 5, and they take pictures of these vehicles that may be racing, get their license plate, get a picture of them in the vehicle, and then they can go ahead, when it goes back to us, we can identify who these individuals are and the speed that they were driving. It all gets documented, and that information gets sent out to them in terms of, hey, we know this is what you had done, and they can, I don't know if they've actually done a citation to this, but they actually can notify them to let them know, look, you're on notice now, and we know where you live. This is your picture, and you can't really debate it because you have everything there. They've got the speed through the speed of the radar gun. And as I mentioned, because of this, everything we've been going through this year, it was mostly highlighted last year. But, you know, I think once we get past all this and we get back to some kind of normalcy in terms of being able to have more of our volunteers engage with the community as they've been doing in the past, they'll definitely go back up there and assist with that kind of program. So that's something else I just wanted to put out there. No other division, I think, shares that kind of volunteer program. Again, we're a pilot program for many of the other divisions in the whole city. So many of the things that we come up with, we started, and then other divisions begin to piggyback off of that.
Yeah. Crime
and even the app we have, the app you have for us with the Devonshire, the app for reporting and the crimes and all that, it's working beautiful. Awesome. We go in, we see all your reports. I love the access, you know, pick your SLO and immediately it calls it through the phone number. Yeah. Go ahead, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I'm sorry. I just wanted to put out that crime in Devonshire overall is down. We're down about 10%, I believe. And for within the city, out of the 21 divisions, we're number 8 in the city as crime reduction, and number 2 in the valley. So we're doing pretty good right now. We had an issues with aggravated assaults. They were up a bit. We had some shootings that occurred. That was more in the Northridge area, like Nordhoff and Owen. Another one was like Parthenia and Wilbur, that Northridge area. Part of it was, you know, some gang-related issues. But our detectives are doing a really good job, and it's an ongoing investigation. So I can't go into it still, but it looks like, you know, they'll be clearing things up. As far as, like I say, the other issues with arrest, officers are making arrests. It's not due to lack of enforcement, but unfortunately, we've had this zero bail on arrestees. And so it's like a revolving door. You know, we're making the arrest and they're released right away almost. So hopefully those things will change. But those are the obstacles that we're dealing with out there. A month and a half ago or so, we had a little bit of an outbreak in Devonshire of officers that did come down positive. We had about 7 officers in Devonshire, like boom, within a short period of time. But it seemed like it was all related to like an arrestee that they had. And but none of the officers, they tested positive, but no one really became gravely ill. Everybody's back as far as I know. We did have a mission officer pass away. It's unfortunate, but it's out there, and we just need to be aware, wear our masks and such. I know the captain's really been being very positive and trying to get everyone within the areas to, keep up, the issues with health and health concerns and such, and the masks. And like I say, Devonshire, we just got this shipment of masks, and we'll be putting them out. Like I say, expect the next 4 months to be a bit crazy with the elections coming along, and understand that we'll do our best to go ahead and protect our area and keep everyone safe. And like I say, a number of you are, really great friends. We feel like our family, and we wouldn't want anything to happen to you guys. We wouldn't let that happen.
Yeah, speaking with the elections, so tomorrow the Board of Public Works is going to hear to approve special voting boxes. And those are going to be something you have to watch for so that nobody steals these boxes.
Correct.
And I think it's going to pass, and you're going to have special boxes for the voting. Yeah. David?
I have nothing. I'm good.
All right. Gabriel?
I'm
okay?
good. Thank you.
Excellent.
Perfect.
So we're moving fast. That's good. This way I get you off the hook fast. So the next item, it's one of those like floating back and forth, the issues revolving with Wilbur and Rinaldi intersection. And I'll have David discuss more of it. LADOT representative, Mr. Ken Feruzman, last minute couldn't join because of he had been called for an emergency budget meeting. But he gave us some feedback, and he's willing to come back for the next general meeting and give us more feedback. But David, go ahead. This is your item.
Well, sure. Well, in a nutshell, the community's been asking for a left-hand turn signal on Wilbur Rinaldi for some time. We have numerous accidents here, and it's being held up. We've reached out to Council District CD12, but they're telling us due to COVID, due to budget, due to restraints. We thought for the longest time that this was going to happen because we had equipment, we had traffic poles put in that were sitting on the property for 4 months, and unfortunately found out that those traffic poles are going to be installed over off of Amigo, which is good as well because there's a lot of accidents off of Amigo. But once again, we're still at this hurdle with the council district. We really need to get this handled for whatever reason. People that come down off of Wilbur going south pay no attention to the cars that are going east and west. And there's been, I don't know, I think there's been close to 100 accidents over the years. I think you're at, what was it, 90, what did Mr. Brewman say, 93 or something like that?
Yeah, at 93.
I mean, we really need the community we need to really push for a new traffic study, because once that building gets put in there, and that's by right, the owner, he has done, he's gone to the city, he's worked with the council office all the way back to Englander, ex-councilman Mitch Englander, and this has been in the works for a long, long time. So by right, he can put his building there, but the community knows that we're going to have, unless we get that turn signal put in there, we're going to have more traffic going in there, because this will end up being a call center that works 24/7. And with that call center, there's going to be changing of employees going in and out, and it's just going to be more and more traffic that's going to hit that. So we really need to step up and push for a new traffic study, as well as have the councilman put that turn signal in there. But they've been throwing a blind eye on us. So we really need to reach out to whoever we can to push this. I don't know if Ken Feruzman can push it. Do you have any comments on that one, Assad? How that would work?
So basically, Ken Feruzman is the main lead designer, and basically he uses whatever data he has. And per the feedback we had and per the other members of PRNC investigation, we brought it to Ken's attention that the data they're using is really outdated. Some of them goes back 10 years ago, some of them 15 years ago, and the nature of whole Porter Ranch is changing by day. So we cannot be designing for that. So he's willing to work with the community and try to figure out a new data study, new traffic study. And then we as a Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council need to work closer with the council office to allocate the funding. Because at the end of the day, the priorities and the funding is in a way set by the council office. And not only that, there is, in September 16, the city of LA DOT is going to be accepting applications for humps installation. And the program is going to be 450 locations citywide, 30 per council. So if you take 30 for CD12, Porter Ranch should get at least 4 locations for humps. Now humps is tricky. The requirements is posted on the website for LADOT on the city website. And those gonna have, you know, speed limitation before you get to it. The location has to be not in a commercial zone, things like that. But for us as Porter Ranch, this is something happening September 16th. So by
But
September...
humps wouldn't work for the Wilbur.
No. It's just a remark. I just remembered. I brought it up because of what I was saying on the budget. You know, with the budget, we need to work with CD12. And at the same time, there is a lot of these priorities that the council office is setting. So they can set which, like for example, Balboa Rinaldi is happening because, you know, there is a lot of push from our neighborhood council to get it happening. So they managed to get it from priority 3 to priority 2 to priority 1, and it's happening. Same thing here. We need, with the accident history, with the use of the outdated traffic data, we should be able to work with Ken and whomever in CD12 to get it moving to priority 1 and allocate funding for it.
We should hear from the community. I know Sherry wanted to speak on it, but I can't see who's here.
Oh, just click on participant and you'll see over here. I'll be opening the floor for the community, and I know Sherry, you wanted, so I'll unmute you. Sherry, go ahead.
Oh, yes. Sorry, my daughter was calling from out of state. I apologize. I'm off the phone now.
So now is the item you wanted to ask, Wilbur and Rinaldi.
Oh, well, the issue I was asking about is, do you remember about 5 or 6 months ago, maybe before COVID-19 started, there was that developer who was going to build that on the southeast corner of Wilbur and Rinaldi, and it was really going to impact traffic the way the people were going to exit that building. It was going to double the amount of cars coming out of that corner. And it's already such an arduous corner at Wilbur. Wilbur and Rinaldi has so many accidents, people speeding down Wilbur. So my question was, that maybe fall under land use, but is that development still going forward, or is that kind of on hold for now?
So we were talking about that when you were was speaking with your daughter, but yes.
Sorry.
It's by right. So he is moving forward on building it. I don't know where he's at on it at this time. I know that it's finalized through Plum. He's been working on that. He's been working on that development probably about 3 years with CD12. So this has been going on a long time.
Yeah.
And you know, we really need to push them to have a traffic study there, because you're correct. It's not only going to double, it's probably going to triple. And I made that comment a minute ago that it's going to be a call center, it's going to be a 24/7 call center. So there'll be people coming in and out.
Yeah, I was just, another thing is, because I just last week went to one of the doctor's offices there. There's an audiologist in that building. And the first thing, my appointment was right at 4:45, right before they closed. And the first thought is, oh no, I can just imagine if this building was developed, how would I even get in and out of that parking lot? And you're taking your life in your hands if you're trying to get out onto Rinaldi when traffic already. So I was just really concerned about that.
I believe we have that on the neighborhood council. We should have already posted that. He did come and speak at the neighborhood council.
Yeah, I was at that meeting. I was at that meeting.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
They've thought about it, but you're correct. I mean, at the end of the day, there's going to be a ton of cars going in and out.
Okay. And it's part, Sherry, part of the discussion we have with the LADOT designer, with Ken Feruzman, is that because given the way they are designing it in the B permit process, if you exit from the building and you want to make a west turn going left, cross Rinaldi in a rush hour, it's going to be a madhouse accident. And we were telling them to consider to put sort of a median so that it doesn't allow anybody to get out of the building, make a left turn onto Rinaldi itself.
Yeah.
And, I believe if I recollect that there is an exit going on to Wilbur, so they would be able to exit Wilbur, making a right to make a left on Rinaldi.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see. Anybody else? Any other comments at this time for Wilbur Rinaldi? I mean, I wish we had Eric Moody with us here to elaborate more, because he's been with Hannah, the lead on this for the past year in
3
discussion.
Hannah's been working on it for almost 3 years, and then Eric Moody's been working on it since John came into office.
Right, so that this way we get more of what's going on. We get a fresh handle on the permitting, and we get to, talk to the applicant, the B permit the owner of the property, to get us some modification on the design, to work with LADOT on it, and rather than having it an accident waiting to happen.
I agree, and I think because he lives in the community, I think he's still open to having discussions. I mean, it comes out of his pocket, but I'm sure he's still is still open for discussions on it, because at the end of the day, if his employees get injured going to work or coming in and out of his building, then there could be other repercussions that can go back to him as well. So this is all good thoughts.
Exactly. The liability will go actually on the city, on CD12, and on the building owner too. And LADOT it's like a domino effect. It will get everybody in line.
People will be lining up just to go work there.
All right. So with no further questions, I'll move to the next item, which is the Porter Ranch gated communities issues. And the main concern a lot of the requests I've been getting from the different HOAs is how to enhance on the neighborhood watch role, and how to get more of the neighborhood watch signs, and how to work close with our Devonshire so that we reduce a lot of the, I don't want to say, we have seasonal crimes. Thank God for now we're okay, but like in Christmas and in a lot of these flavored days, we get a lot of issues. Gabriel, you want to shed in on the neighborhood signs? Because you need those on Mason.
Yeah, the problem with that is a lot of people are always interested in complaining about crime in gated communities and never want to participate in being a part of safety committees or being a part of neighborhood watches. And we need to start encouraging residents to join these neighborhood watches, as well as safety committees of the council, as well as the HOAs and etc. And we need to start putting up signs inside and outside the community to show that, hey, you know, there are other people other than LAPD or Sheriff's Department or any other jurisdictions watching or patrolling the area. And we just need guidance on where to get the signs, and if any of the officers can help us, what can we do to gain enrollment in participants in neighborhood watches as well as safety committees?
Yeah, definitely. We can assist you with that. No problem. We always love going ahead and being involved with startup neighborhood watch meetings. Officer Parker, John, and I, like I say, we if you want to go ahead and have an area where you're having some issues, definitely we ask them to kind of like talk to the neighbors, the surrounding block, what have you. We'll look for who's going to be able to kind of host one. Right now, it's hard because of all this. We would probably have to do it Zoom-wise.
Zoom, right.
You know, and, you know, but definitely the signs for neighborhood watch do help out. When you have a person, you know, and we've had studies done where they've talked to criminals and they say, hey, what do you see when you go into certain areas? And they see the dynamics, the stuff that's around the environment. If they see signs coming, that's one thing that they've said, that, oh, we look for certain things within the area. We push out having the signs. Also, a good thing is having, they also have decals, little like kind of like stickers, but they go on near your front door or on the windows and such. So when somebody does approach your home, they also see that. And when they see that you have a neighborhood that they have all this type of signage and such within the area, you know, it makes them think twice. The other things that we love to push is video. Video, real-time video helps out quite a bit because you're able to alert, you know, police when you see certain activity going on, and which helps out because then they call the troops out, boom, 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 and they're working as these criminals are operating. The other thing too is you're able to share things with your neighbors. There's certain groups out there that you're able to go ahead and share videos and such, and let them know, hey, these are the type of people we have committing crimes or looking to commit crime within the area. Just be aware of that. So it's good, and we need to communicate. Communication is number one, really, to go ahead and let people know what's going on within the area.
Yeah, so one of the other things too you can do, and we do this with other neighborhood councils, for instance, if you're trying to get, say, for the signs or the decals that you put in the windows, or even these neighborhood, the how to start up a neighborhood watch program, what we do is you just go to the neighborhood council, propose a budget to them, say, hey, this is what we need, X amount of signs, X amount of decals, and maybe the booklets as well. How do we get this neighborhood watch together? And you propose that to the neighborhood council, and they'll actually
assist you with it, because we know that also the neighborhood council has funding for that, and we've had it where they actually for the neighborhood councils that they sometimes they'll put their stickers on the signs themselves too, indicating that it came from, you know, Porter Ranch, Chatsworth, certain areas, and they're able to go ahead and indicate that they're helping out the community. You know, as far as the neighborhood watch, startup groups and such, there's literature that booklets that actually help them on how they're going to conduct their meetings and such, gives them ideas on what content the meetings should have, just a number of ideas. Also, the neighborhood councils are able to put their stickers on those booklets and let, you know, so when they're doing neighborhood watch meetings and such, they know that Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council is assisting them with all this and keeping their community safe.
The other thing too, Gabriel, and for all of you is once we step in and whoever hosts that initial startup neighborhood watch meeting, we bring all the material that may be needed. And if we have to do it through Zoom first because of the current situation, we can provide all that information via emails or PDFs that can go out to everyone. But what's important about it is we discuss like the role of law enforcement. We also discuss the role of community policing. And that's something that's very important in any community, where if you're active, wherever you may live, you know your neighbors, you know the cars that they have. But also, you know, people are, you know, they're doing a group thing where they go on walks every evening or in the morning, what have you. That could be a great starting point for not only connecting with your neighbors in that community, but also like looking, you know, what do we have? You know, do we have wild animals that may be in those communities? Do we have somebody that may be coming in through a gate that may be open? And for us, which is very vital, is just, you know, is there a license plate that all we can do is we can investigate it, you know, at the very least, but it helps assisting in everybody playing a part, because you have to be vested as to where you're living, but also, you know, be willing to take that part. I know you had mentioned it's very difficult in these gated communities. Most people don't like to get involved, but you know, it's something that you do have to push. It's something that this is your community and you have to take that initiative and action. And one of the things we find is not everybody wants to be that leader, but whomever that person will be, and whether you have a co-chair person assisting them, a lot of times we find people like to follow, and they'll be like, you know what, I don't want to necessarily be the one in charge of everything, but tell me what it is that you need and I can be a part of that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how the narrative starts.
And just like John Gabriel mentioned, yeah, sometimes it's hard going ahead and having people want to go ahead and take it all on and what have you. But I put out there that then get a partner, get someone else who, you know, you'll do it together. And that way you're not just one person's going ahead and taking on the whole load. You know, you partner up and you have a few people, and then it makes things a little bit easier. I'm glad we're talking about the safety issues for everything. Gated communities are much safer. I'll say that. Less crime activity, but there's still crime. Crime still happens within the area, and we have to be mindful of it. And that's why, you know, I've gone through the gated communities, neighborhoods, and garages are wide open. People are anything. It's like going, you know, cars, you know, if they're leaving the cars unlocked.
Yeah, not getting complacent.
And yeah, it's like, it's okay to do that if you're going to be out there. But nobody wants to feel like they're living in a prison, or you know, hey, I have to really, you know, I watch what I'm doing. But the fact is that, you know, people are, you know, they look for the easy steal. And if you're, they're opportunists. And if you're going ahead and leaving the candy out there, they're going to go ahead and take it.
Grab it, exactly.
Quick question for you, Danny or John. Yes. So, talking about gated communities, and we know we've spoken about this previously. Every neighbor, or every other neighbor has a camera. Everybody's watching everybody. Is there a sign to let people know that they're being watched in the community? So for that person to deter them coming in off of our Mason Gate, or somebody coming in off of Cessna, are there signs that the communities can purchase that at least you can say, hey, you're being filmed?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely you can post those signs up. Those I like to have those signs posted. Yes, people, criminals look for the easy steal, anything. They don't want to be filmed. They don't want to be photographed.
No. If they knew that almost every house, I mean, I think almost all these communities, everybody's filming everybody, and you film across the street, you film across your neighbor. I mean, it's a wide view angle. But where would we get those signs? Where can we tell the community or the HOAs to get those signs? Does LAPD have them? Should we go to the council office? Where can we get those signs?
Really, we're not allowed to go ahead and say, oh, buy it from one vendor, one business, or what have you. I mean, there's.
Okay, how about the neighborhood watch signs? Where do those come from?
There's a neighborhood watch. There's different organizations. If you want, you can contact me, and I can go ahead and give you some other information on where we can go ahead and do that. You know, and I'll get back to you on that. But yeah, definitely, like I say, real-time cameras and everything, they help out the most. The putting out there about being filmed and such, yes, because the officers do that. When something's going down, they look for who has the cameras, where they can go ahead and possibly get things going on, and it's so beneficial. It helps out so much.
Yeah. One of the other things I want to share is that when we go to these meetings and we discuss, you know, some of the plans and how to put yourself in a position that you want to be successful in your neighborhood. And what we have found is that those that tend to be involved have a safer community. So by that, I mean, everybody's playing a part in it. And it's not just the police that are dependent on taking care of everybody's, you know, these issues that may be popping up. But the other component to that is, like, to give an example, you know, I talk about this to my neighbors and I say, you know, for me, I know all my neighbors. I went out there and I know who they are. I know where they live. I know their kids and what have you. But, you know, one of the things that we do is, as officers, is like, you know, if I've got a dog that may be barking outside, I sort of know, okay, I know my neighbors have dogs, but if the dog is barking a certain way, I'm going to go check it out. I'm going to look out the window, see what it may be. Same thing at night. I mean, if you hear a car that maybe has a different exhaust that you normally don't recognize in your community, that could be a sign, like, you know what, maybe just, what is that, or who's going by, you know? And that's where we tend to find our burglary, theft, or motor vehicle. A lot of that happens late in the evening hours, you know? Yeah. So again, it's being a little more proactive, but at the same time, you know, be able to get up and at least investigate or just check it out at the very least.
And at least be able to know possibly what's going on around your house, what's going on at the same time. Hey, David, are you on?
Of course, I'm here.
Yes, he's here.
Isn't it funny though? Even my own son that you met, he told you about the cameras, and hey, you kind of want to know, do you have, he asked you, do you have a young daughter?
And actually,
she's having a visitor.
And actually, on the cameras, in our last meeting, we spoke about getting some cameras, and we're still trying to work on through the little loops and hoops, because, you know, in City of LA, to get the cameras, we have to go through you guys too and get the blessing of LAPD, because ultimately the cameras will feed into your own network. And we're still working on that because we want to get it for the community. It's installed all over downtown and whatever the city attorney office called the hot zones. But for us, with your blessing, we're going to hopefully have it.
Well, thank you. And like I say, right now cameras are so cheap for personal reasons though too. We ask people, please, you know, do it for your own homes, you know, also.
Yeah, and it helps us out in terms of trying to locate or solve a crime, because it gives us one real time. If there's multiple suspects, other than thinking, okay, I think there's one person, possibly a vehicle with a license plate. But the other thing is, we can put that out as a bulletin, not only for our agency, but it can go nationwide if it need be. You know, if we're looking for somebody across the country, that information could be disseminated to other agencies.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then I'll be starting to take some questions from the audience. I see the gentleman representing Sorrento. Philip, I'm unmuting you. If you can go ahead, because I know Philip is trying to get a lot of these cameras on Mason, and somehow I can't unmute him.
Okay.
Maybe he needs to do a *6.
We'll,
go ahead, Danny.
We'll hit up CD12, John Lee. He's been he's been asking too. Let us know how he could help our community, and you know, we'll tap that other resource too. John's been very, you know, proactive for us on the different areas within. So, you know, we could, like I say, that's another resource that we'll tap into.
Right. Yeah, I wish one of this office would be here. I mean, we invited John himself, we invited the chief of staff, we invited everybody so that they could share with Porter Ranch what's going on, where we're heading next. I mean, when you're talking about cameras, for the past 10 years, and you know, in my other hat, street lighting, we have some luminaires right now with the fisheye little cameras that's the size of the LED itself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're working on those. I have some technology coming in, but it's delayed because of COVID, in which the luminaire itself can detect speed and has license plate recognition.
Okay.
And this is all part of the smart city that we're deploying throughout the whole city of LA.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what we're getting at is if we can get that up here in Porter Ranch, do you think you or the captain or even the chief would give us the blessing so we can install them up here to at least do a pilot test for them?
It's hard to say on those things right now, because I know they talk about you have to have officers that are monitoring those, you know, and right now they're trying to cut our heads off with budget cuts. You know, it's just
Exactly.
the amount of officers. I know that, geez, this coming up November next year, that we're losing officers. We're going to be at an all-time low in officers. That I think next year they said that with the amount of cuts that they're mentioning, they want it. It'll be down to you know, the force of the officers out there. It'll be what it was about 20 years ago, which is like crazy. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you beautifully,
Okay.
and we love what you said. And we're going to try to get you something going on. I know the budget is crazy. I've been working on it the past, you know, 3
It was
weeks.
just silent there for a little bit. And then
No, silent because we're absorbing what you're saying.
Crazy.
Okay.
He's talking too much.
Yeah, I'm probably talking too much. Sorry. But
No,
thank
no,
you.
no.
Yeah,
No, we're
that.
learning a lot from you. And the next item is actually really, I'm opening the floor for the stakeholders for any questions or any items we missed or they need us to elaborate. We have, you know, we have a lot of people online, but they've been quiet. I mean, they've been storming my email. They've been storming me through Nextdoor. I have like over 240 messages and suggestions, and some of them even sent me wonderful PowerPoints. And hopefully within, you know, we have a very resourceful community. They have a lot of ideas. Some of them is wild ideas. I mean, I don't want to say them, but to stop the speeding, to stop whatever. But the one thing I know is you could count on us supporting you, supporting your efforts, and you've been great. I mean, I bugged the captain a couple times when I saw activities, and within a couple minutes, I have you guys right there, you know, taking care and taking action. And
well, thank you. We appreciate that very much.
And I think for all of you to know, I mean, we really appreciate, you know, the support from the community, but at the same time, there's no dumb question or idea. You know, sometimes we do have to think outside the box to come up with something different to be positive, and, you know, something maybe that we haven't done before, but it works really well in terms of any kind of enforcement. So we always encourage that, and we're here to continue to support and do what we need to do to help out.
Sherry, you had a question? Go ahead.
Yes. Danny, what are your thoughts on those Ring doorbells that have the little mini cameras? Do you think those are helpful?
Yeah, those are very helpful. You know, because they're real time. They let people know if somebody's at their residence. You're able to adjust the zones on them and such. There's other camera systems out there that are similar, that are really good. We just ask that you try to get something that does have real time.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Good question.
Thanks, Jerry.
David, Gabriel?
I think we're
Any
good.
last thoughts?
We're good.
Any last
I'll answer
questions?
questions. Everything's good.
All right. So we're going to have a lot of action items, and
yes,
we'll bug you gentlemen for a lot of the information. We have your emails. So all the emails aren't, you know, going to get you in trouble with us.
Yeah. We're going to get the 200 questions and emails.
Right?
That's good, though. It's all good.
Yeah, all good. All right. So
everybody have a safe weekend.
you have a great, safe
likewise.
Labor Day weekend. I thank you, and I thank all the people online with us. It's been great, and hopefully we will come out with some solutions. Next week, to remind you, we have our general meeting on Wednesday, and the agenda will be posted over the weekend.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
All right.
Thank you. Y'all have a great weekend.
Thank you.
You all too.
Stay safe.
All right. Good evening. Bye-bye.
All right.
Are we all done?
Yes. All right,
That's the
Marie.
meeting?
So yeah, thank you now. So I'm
How
going
was
to
it?
stop. Yeah, I'm going to stop the video, and thank you very much.
Okay, sounds good. And
Bye-bye.
who do I send this to? Just Wendy?
Isam. Yeah, Isam or Gabriel.
I don't have either of your emails, I don't believe. I have Wendy.
You have Gabriel, right? Oh, you have.
No, I don't have Gabriel's. I just went through the Apple One. I can just send it to her and she can forward it to you, I suppose. Is that preferable?
Hold on, let me ask David. David, Marie is asking, where would she send the video? The video, no, Marie, our the lady that handles our note taker.
For tonight. It's just us now.
Yeah, I guess David is telling me Isam is gonna
I could just send it to Wendy.
get the video.
Well, I don't have the video.